Chosen one, what God is releasing into your life in this season is not something that has ever been released at this scale before. Not in this form, not with this scope, not with the specific combination of elements that makes what you are receiving different from what any chosen one before you has received in quite this way. God is not recycling a blessing that has been given to others and routing it toward you. God is doing something new, and the specific newness of what God is doing is the thing that this message is about. God is rewarding you with a power the world has never seen before. Let me tell you what that means before I tell you what it is. It means that the people around you, the systems you operate within, the structures that have governed what is possible in the sphere you move in, have no category for what is about to be active in your life. They have not seen it before because it has not been released before. It has not been released before because the timing was not right. The chosen one who was meant to carry it was not yet ready. The season that makes it possible had not yet arrived. But the timing is right now. The readiness is present now. And the season, the specific season that makes the release of this power possible, is the season you are currently in. I want you to understand what kind of power we are talking about. Not power in the sense of dominance or control, or the ability to impose your will on the situations around you. That is a human category of power. The power that God is releasing into your life is different from that in kind, not just in degree. It is not a larger version of the power that human systems recognize and reward. It is a different kind of power entirely. It operates by different laws. It produces different outcomes. It is not visible to the eyes that are trained to see human power, which is part of why the world has never seen it before. It is not recognizable to the categories that the world uses to evaluate and measure and rank capability and influence. It moves through different channels. It produces its effects through different mechanisms. And it is more powerful than anything the world has in its catalog of power, precisely because it operates outside the limits that govern everything in the catalog of the world. The power that God is releasing is the power of complete alignment between what heaven has spoken over your life and what begins to manifest in your life. Let me explain what that means in practical terms. Every chosen one carries a design, a blueprint of what they were made to do, who they were made to be, the impact they were made to have in the world and in the lives of the people around them. That design exists. It was established before you were born. It has been present in the background of every season you have navigated, even the seasons where it was not visible, even the seasons where nothing in your circumstances seemed to align with what you believed you were made for. The gap between the design and the current reality of your life has been the source of much of the tension you have carried in this journey. The awareness of what you were made for and the daily experience of what is currently manifesting have not always matched. And that gap has produced a particular kind of frustration, a particular kind of longing, a particular kind of hunger that the people around you may not always have understood because they could not see the design the way you could see it. What God is doing in this season is closing that gap, not gradually, not incrementally, the way it has been closing through the seasons of preparation that preceded this one, in a way that is sudden enough to be recognized as supernatural, in a way that will make it clear to you and to the people around you that what is happening is not the result of accumulated effort finally reaching its tipping point, though the accumulated effort has been real and the preparation has mattered. What is happening is a divine acceleration, a specific activation of the design that God placed in you at a level and a pace that goes beyond what the natural trajectory of your development would have produced. This is the power the world has never seen, not because power has never been released before, but because the specific form of it that is being released into your life calibrated to your specific design and your specific calling, and the specific moment in history that your life is positioned at has not been assembled and released before. It is being released now, into your life, in this season. Let me tell you what this power does not do, because the misunderstanding of what divine power actually is has caused many chosen ones to miss it when it arrives. This power does not make you exempt from the conditions of the world you live in. It does not make difficulty disappear. It does not guarantee that everything you touch will immediately succeed, or that every door you approach will immediately open, or that every person you need to reach will immediately respond. The world has never seen this power, not because it makes everything effortless, but because it makes things possible that should not be possible given the resources available, the relationships in place, the credentials on record, the experience accumulated. It makes things happen that cannot be adequately explained by the natural factors that were present. That is the signature of divine power. Not the absence of resistance, not the removal of all obstacles, but the accomplishment of outcomes that the natural factors present were not sufficient to produce. The world sees the outcome and cannot explain how it happened given what was available. And that inability to explain is the mark of the power that is being released. I want to give you a picture of what the activation looks like when it begins, because chosen ones sometimes expect divine power to arrive with fanfare, with a visible dramatic event that announces itself clearly as the moment of supernatural activation. And sometimes it does, but more often it begins quietly, as a shift in what is possible in a given conversation, as an unexpected opening in a situation that had been closed, as a response from a person who had previously been unresponsive, as a resource that appears through a channel that was not being watched, as an idea or a solution or a direction that arrives with a clarity and a specificity that cannot be fully accounted for by your own thinking and your own processing, as an acceleration in the movement of things that had been moving slowly or not at all. The activation of divine power is often recognized in retrospect before it is recognized in the moment. You look back at a sequence of events and you realize that what happened could not have happened by natural means alone, that the specific combination of factors that produced the outcome was arranged rather than accidental, that the timing was too precise to be coincidental, that the people who showed up and the doors that opened and the resources that became available were coordinated in a way that requires an explanation beyond what the natural story of cause and effect can provide. This is what is beginning in your life. The coordination is already in motion. The arrangement of the factors that will produce the outcome has already been initiated by the God who works all things together for the purpose that has been spoken over the life of the chosen one. And what you will begin to see in the days and weeks ahead is the emergence of a pattern of outcomes that should not have been possible given the resources and the relationships and the circumstances that were present. A pattern that, over time, becomes unmistakable as the signature of a power that the world has no framework for, because the world has never seen it operate at this level, in this form, in a life positioned exactly where yours is positioned. The power the world has never seen is being released, and the evidence of its release will become visible in your life in ways that you will not be able to explain to the people around you using only the language of natural cause and effect. You will have to tell them what you know, that God did this, that what is happening is the result of something that was placed in you before you were born and activated in the season that was appointed for its activation, that the power is real, and that it is available not only to you but to every chosen one who is positioned to receive it and ready to carry it. There is something specific I want to name about the people who will witness this power being active in your life. The people who are closest to you will be among the first to notice. not because they have the most sophisticated framework for recognizing divine power, but because they have the most extensive baseline. They know who you have been. They know what has been true of your life and your capacity and your trajectory up to this point. And when the power begins to activate, when the shift begins to become visible in the outcomes of your life, they will notice that something is different, that you are operating at a level that your prior history does not fully account for, that things are happening around you and through you that cannot be explained by the accumulated effort and the natural development that they have watched over the years. Some of them will recognize it as God, others will search for a natural explanation and will struggle to find one that fully accounts for what they are seeing. And some will simply receive the impact of what God is releasing without having a framework for explaining it. But they will all notice. The power the world has never seen is not a private experience. It is not something that happens in the interior of your life without external manifestation. It produces outcomes. It changes what is possible. It alters the landscape of what can happen around you, and those changes will be visible to the people who are paying attention. Let me tell you why the reward comes in the form of power. Because there is a specific logic to why God chooses this particular season, this particular moment in your journey, as the moment for this particular release. The reward is not arbitrary. It is not simply that God has decided to bless you after a long period of testing. The form of the reward, power specifically, matches the form of what you have been through in a way that is precise and intentional. What a chosen one goes through in the seasons that precede the release of divine power is a specific kind of preparation, not generic hardship that builds general character, specific preparation for specific power. The weakness you have had to navigate was the preparation for a specific form of strength. The limitation you have operated within was the preparation for a specific form of capacity. The silence you have endured was the preparation for a specific kind of voice. The waiting you have moved through was the preparation for a specific kind of authority. Every dimension of what you have been through connects to a dimension of the power that is now being released. This is why the power is new, not because no one has ever received divine power before, but because the specific preparation you have been through is your preparation. The specific design that was placed in you before you were born is your design. The specific calling that has been forming in you across the seasons of your life is your calling. And the power that is being released is calibrated to all of those specifics. It is not a generic divine upgrade. It is a specific release that matches the specific person who has been shaped through the specific journey that you have navigated. The world has not seen this specific combination of person, design, calling, preparation, and timing before, because it has never existed before. You are not a copy of any chosen one who came before you. Your story is not a repeat of any story that has already been told. The combination of factors that makes up who you are and what you carry and what you have been through is unique. And the power that God is releasing into that unique combination is unique. It has never been assembled and activated in exactly this form before. This is why the world has never seen it. I want to talk about what the power feels like from the inside, because chosen ones often wonder whether they will know when the activation happens, whether they will feel different, whether there will be an unmistakable internal shift that signals the arrival of the power. The answer is yes and no, and the nuance matters. There is sometimes a felt dimension to the activation of divine power, a sense of clarity, of settledness, of certainty about a direction or a decision or a step that exceeds what your natural reasoning can fully account for. A sense of being carried rather than only carrying, of moving with a momentum that is larger than what your own effort produces. But the activation is not always felt first. Sometimes it is seen first. The outcome changes before the feeling changes. Things begin to move before you feel different. Doors open before you feel empowered. Provisions arrive before you feel resourced, and the feeling follows the seeing when the pattern becomes clear enough to recognize as something that is beyond what the natural factors present could explain. Do not wait to feel the power before you act. Act from the position that the power is already in operation, because it is, and let the evidence of the outcomes teach you what the activation of divine power looks and feels like in your specific life. There is a responsibility that comes with the power that God is releasing. I want to name it clearly because the power is given for a purpose, not simply as a personal benefit. The power the world has never seen before is not being released so that your life becomes comfortable or impressive or free from the conditions that have characterized this journey. It is being released so that the calling you carry can function at the level it was designed to function at, so that the impact you were made to have becomes possible at a scale that matches the size of the design, so that the people who were meant to be reached through your life can be reached, so that the provision that was meant to flow through your life can flow. This means the power is productive rather than decorative. It is not a status symbol. It is not evidence that you have arrived at a level of spiritual achievement that exempts you from the demands of the calling. It is the fuel that the calling requires to do what it was designed to do. And the measure of whether the power is being properly received and properly stewarded is not how impressive your life looks from the outside. It is whether the calling is functioning, whether the impact is happening, whether the design is being fulfilled. I want to say something about what happens to the people in your sphere when the power begins to be active in your life. What they experience is not only the visible outcomes, the doors opening and the provisions arriving, and the opportunities emerging that had not been available before. They also experience something in the quality of their encounter with you. Something changes in what it feels like to be around you, to be in conversation with you, to be in relationship with you. There is a weight to you that was not there in the same way before. Not the weight of burden or heaviness, the weight of substance, of reality, of a person who is carrying something that has mass and significance and the specific gravity that comes from being in alignment with the purpose for which you were made. The people who are sensitive to this will notice it and be drawn to it. They will not always be able to name what they are sensing. They will say things like, "There is something different about you," or "I do not know what it is, but being around you feels like something." And what they are sensing is the power that God has released, not as a performance, not as an energy you are projecting, but as the natural emanation of a chosen one who is operating in alignment with the design that heaven established for their life and carrying the power that heaven released to make that design possible. I want to expand on something that I said about what the people in your sphere will experience, because this aspect of the power that is being released is one that many chosen ones underestimate. The impact of divine power in a chosen life is not contained to the chosen one alone. It radiates, it extends, it touches the people who are in proximity to the life that is carrying it, not because the chosen one is deliberately extending it or consciously directing it toward others, but because the power that God releases into a life was never designed to stay within the boundaries of that single life. It was always designed to overflow, to be more than enough for the individual, and to produce an excess that touches the people in range. This means that as the power begins to activate in your life, the people around you will begin to experience changes in their own lives that they may trace back to their connection with you. Opportunities that open, situations that shift, perspectives that change. Not because you did anything specific to produce those outcomes in their lives, but because the overflow of what God is releasing in you extends naturally into the sphere that surrounds you. This is part of what makes the power new in the world. Not just its presence in your life, but its effect on everything and everyone your life touches. The people who are paying attention will connect the dots eventually. They will realize that something shifted in their lives in the same season that something shifted in yours. And they will begin to understand that what they are experiencing is not separate from what God is doing in you. It is an extension of it, the same power, the same overflow, the same God who is rewarding the chosen one with something the world has never seen, reaching through the chosen one to touch the world that the chosen one was placed to influence. Now I want to talk about something that is both spiritual and practical. Because the power that God is releasing does not operate in a separate spiritual dimension that is disconnected from the practical realities of your daily life. It operates in and through the practical, through your decisions, through your conversations, through your habits, through the quality of your thinking and your discernment, and your ability to recognize what matters and what does not, what is aligned with the calling and what is distraction, what is a door that God opened, and what is an imitation of an open door that leads somewhere that is not aligned with the design. This is where Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist based in New York, comes in, not as a replacement for the spiritual, but as a support for the practical dimension of what divine power requires. Dr. Barone has developed something called the Genius Switch, and I want to tell you what it does and why it matters, specifically for the chosen one who is entering the season of power that this message describes. Dr. Barone builds his work on the foundational research of Dr. Roger Sperry, who won the Nobel Prize in 1981 for his discovery of left brain and right brain specialization. What Dr. Sperry discovered is that the two hemispheres of the brain process reality differently, and that the integration of those two kinds of processing is what produces the highest levels of human cognition, creativity, discernment, and decision-making. And what Dr. Barone found in his research is that 98% of children operate in a state of whole brain activation that he calls genius mode, a state where both hemispheres are working together, where the full capacity of the brain is available in every moment. But something happens as we age. The integration breaks down. The whole brain state collapses into a divided state where one hemisphere is dominant and the other is underutilized. And fewer than 1 inch, 1,000 adults maintains the genius mode that was natural in childhood. The vast majority of people, including chosen ones who are operating in genuine spiritual power, are doing so with a brain that is running at a fraction of its available capacity. What the Genius Switch does is reactivate the whole brain state. It uses a process Dr. Barone calls neural sync technology, delivered through headphones. It takes about 8 minutes a day. And what it restores is the kind of integrated brain activation that makes the full capacity of your mind available to you in every moment. The clarity of thinking that allows you to perceive what others miss. The quality of discernment that allows you to recognize the significance of what is in front of you. The creative integration that allows you to see solutions and connections and possibilities that a divided brain would overlook. I want you to think about what that means in the context of a season of divine power release. The power that God is activating in your life will move through your thinking, your decisions, your conversations, your ability to recognize opportunities and respond to them with clarity and decisiveness. The Genius Switch gives your mind the capacity to be fully present and fully integrated in those moments, to engage with what God is releasing with the full cognitive capacity that the season requires. The Genius Switch comes with 4 free bonuses and is backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. The regular price is $49, but it is currently available for $39. That is a price point that Dr. Barone intentionally created to make this accessible to the people who need it most, which are often the people who are in the middle of the kind of transition that a chosen one in this season is navigating. The guarantee means there is no risk. If it does not deliver what it says it delivers, you get your money back. The information about how to access it is in the description. But I want to say something beyond the product details. The fact that something like the Genius Switch exists in this moment, that the science of whole brain activation has been developed and made accessible in a practical daily tool that takes 8 minutes, is itself not accidental. The chosen ones, who are entering the season of unprecedented power release, need the cognitive capacity to carry what God is releasing. And the tools that support that cognitive capacity are part of the provision that God makes available in the season of release. The natural and the supernatural work together. The spiritual power and the cognitive clarity reinforce each other. And the chosen one who has both is positioned to do more with the power than the chosen one who is operating with the spiritual dimension but has left the cognitive dimension undeveloped. Let me now tell you something about the obstacles that arise when divine power is being released, because the release of power always attracts opposition, not because God is careless about the protection of the chosen one, but because the power that God releases is power that disrupts the existing order. And the existing order, the patterns and the systems and the arrangements that have been in place, does not always welcome disruption without resistance. The opposition that arises when God releases power in a chosen life is not evidence that the power is not real. It is evidence that the power is real enough to provoke a response. The chosen one who understands this will not be destabilized by the resistance. They will recognize it as confirmation of the power rather than contradiction of it. They will understand that the opposition is proportional to the disruption, and the disruption is proportional to the scope of what God is releasing. Small power releases provoke small resistance. Unprecedented power release provokes unprecedented resistance. And the chosen one who is receiving what God is releasing in this season should expect the opposition to be significant, because the power is significant. Let me be more specific about how to navigate the opposition that arises when divine power is being released. The primary strategy that opposition uses against a chosen one who is in a season of power activation is not direct confrontation. Direct confrontation would be too visible, too easy to recognize as opposition, too likely to produce a response of resistance that strengthens the chosen one rather than weakening them. The primary strategy is distraction. The introduction of things into your life that are not bad in themselves but that are not aligned with the assignment. Things that consume the time and the attention and the energy that the assignment requires. Things that are good enough to feel legitimate but not aligned enough to contribute to the specific purpose that the power is being released to serve. The chosen one who is entering a season of unprecedented power release must be ruthless about distraction, not harsh with themselves about every imperfect use of time, but clear and honest and decisive about the things that are consuming resources that belong to the calling. The power that God is releasing is not unlimited in the sense that it can be poured into any use and still produce the outcomes that the calling requires. It flows most fully when it is flowing in the direction of the assignment. And the chosen one who directs the power by directing their attention and their time and their energy toward the assignment will experience the full activation. The chosen one who allows that direction to be fragmented by distraction will experience the power at a reduced level. The second strategy that opposition uses is comparison. The introduction of awareness of other people who appear to be further along, who appear to have more of what you need, who appear to have received their breakthrough before you received yours. Comparison is a tool of opposition because it redirects the focus from what God is doing in your specific life. according to your specific design and your specific timing, toward what God is doing in the life of someone else, according to their specific design and their specific timing. The two things have nothing to do with each other, but comparison creates the feeling that they do, and the chosen one, who is caught in comparison, loses the clarity of focus that the power requires to flow fully. God is releasing unprecedented power into your specific life, not into a comparison between your life and the life of someone else. The power flows in the direction of the specific calling that is specific to you, and that calling requires your full attention, not your attention divided between what God is doing in you and what God appears to be doing in someone else. Release the comparison. Return to the specificity of your own design, your own calling, your own season, and let the power flow in the direction that it was released to flow. I want to talk now about the specific ways that the power the world has never seen before will express itself in the practical areas of your life. Because the power is not abstract. It does not float in a spiritual realm that has no connection to the daily realities of your existence. It expresses itself in specific ways, in specific areas, and understanding where to look for the evidence of the release will help you recognize it when it appears, will help you receive it fully, rather than dismissing what does not match your prior categories of what breakthrough looks like. The first area where the power expresses itself is in the area of provision. Not provision in the narrow sense of money appearing where there was no money before, though that is sometimes part of it. Provision in the full sense of what the calling requires becoming available in the season when it is needed. Resources arriving through unexpected channels. Support materializing from unexpected sources. Opportunities emerging that create the financial conditions that the calling needs to function at the level it was designed to function at. The provision may not look like what you imagined provision looking like. It may not arrive in the form you were expecting or through the channel you were monitoring, but it will be specific to what the calling requires. Calibrated to the assignment. Sufficient for the work. The second area where the power expresses itself is in the area of relationship. The right people beginning to come into your life in the right timing. Not a general expansion of your social network, though that may be part of it. The specific people who carry specific things that your calling needs, arriving through unexpected paths, connecting with you in ways that feel designed because they are designed. The relationships that open doors. The collaborations that multiply what you carry. The connections that provide access to the resources and the audiences and the opportunities that your prior sphere did not give access to. At the same time, there may be a simultaneous thinning of the relational landscape. People who do not fit the season moving naturally out of close proximity, not through conflict or drama, but through the natural process of lives moving in different directions. The chosen one who is entering the season of unprecedented power should not hold on to relationships that are completing their season out of loyalty to a past that the current season has moved beyond. Let what is ending end gracefully. Make space for what is beginning. The relational landscape of a chosen one in a season of power release shifts, and the shift is part of the release. The third area where the power expresses itself is in the area of influence, your words carrying a weight that they did not carry before, the things you say landing differently, people responding to your presence and your communication with a seriousness and a receptivity that exceeds what your prior history of influence would account for. Not because you have become more impressive as a communicator, though your skills may have developed, but because the anointing on the words of a chosen one who is in a season of power activation is different from the anointing that was present in prior seasons. It is heavier, it reaches further, it produces more durable effects in the people it touches. This is one of the specific expressions of the unprecedented power that God is releasing into your life. The expansion of influence, the deepening of impact, the extension of your reach into spheres that were not accessible in prior seasons. Not because you have networked your way into those spheres or built your platform to the point where they noticed you, but because the power that is active in your life carries a reach that is proportional to the calling, not to the current credentials. The calling is large, the power matches the calling, and the influence that the power produces reflects the scope of the calling rather than the current state of the visible platform. The fourth area where the power expresses itself is in the area of clarity. I want to spend a moment on this one specifically because it is both underrated as a form of power and central to everything else that the power produces. Clarity of mind, clarity of direction, clarity about what matters and what does not, clarity about which opportunities are aligned with the calling and which are attractive distractions, clarity about what to say yes to and what to say no to, clarity about the next step, even when the full picture is not yet visible. The chosen one, who operates with unusual clarity in a world that is characterized by confusion and overwhelm and information overload, has a form of power that most people deeply underestimate until they do not have it. The ability to know what to do in a given situation, to make decisions without the paralysis that characterizes most people in high-stakes moments, to perceive what is actually happening beneath the surface of what appears to be happening, to recognize the significance of what is in front of you before anyone else in the room has recognized it. These are the practical expressions of divine power in the cognitive realm. And this is why the genius switch, which I mentioned earlier in this message, is specifically relevant to the chosen one who is entering this season. The whole brain activation that the genius switch restores is what makes the clarity I just described possible at a sustained level. The divided brain that characterizes most adults is not designed to maintain the kind of sustained clarity that a season of unprecedented power requires. It gets tired. It loses coherence under pressure. It fragments in the face of complexity. The whole brain state, the genius mode that children naturally maintain and that the genius switch reactivates in adults, is what sustains the clarity through the demands of the season. If the power God is releasing is going to express itself fully in your thinking, in your decision-making, in your discernment, in the quality of your perception, in every moment of every encounter, your brain needs to be operating at full capacity. The genius switch gives it that capacity, 8 minutes a day. $39. 4 free bonuses. 100% money-back guarantee. And the information about how to access it is in the description. I want to add to what I said about clarity, because there is a specific kind of clarity that is being released in this season that I have not yet named. It is the clarity of identity, the settled knowing of who you are and what you carry that does not require external validation to remain stable, the clarity that holds when circumstances suggest the opposite. That holds when the people around you are not affirming what you believe about yourself. That holds when the visible evidence has not yet caught up with what God has said. That holds when the opposition is loud and the confirmation is quiet. This is one of the most powerful forms of clarity that divine power produces, not the clarity that comes from having everything figured out, not the clarity that comes from external circumstances lining up in ways that confirm what you believe, but the clarity that comes from being so settled in the truth of what God placed in you that external circumstances lose their power to shake it. This is the clarity that makes a chosen one dangerous to everything that is trying to stop the release of the power. Because the chosen one who knows who they are cannot be confused about what they carry, cannot be talked out of the calling by circumstances that do not yet reflect the calling. cannot be destabilized by the opposition that arises when divine power is being activated. The clarity of identity that God is releasing in this season is a form of the power that the world has never seen. The world has seen people with skill, with talent, with intelligence, with charisma, but it has rarely seen a person with the settled, unshakable clarity of someone who knows exactly who they are and what they were made to do, and is no longer waiting for the world to confirm it. That clarity is the foundation on which everything else the power produces is built, and it is being released into your life now. Let me also say something about Lisa. Lisa was a woman who had been operating for years with the awareness of something she was meant to do, but a persistent inability to access the cognitive clarity that the doing required. She was talented, she was faithful, she was committed to the calling, but something in her mind kept fragmenting at the moments when the clarity was most needed. She found the genius switch and began using it daily. Within weeks, the fragmentation began to resolve. The clarity she had been reaching for became accessible, and within months, she was operating at a level that she described as finally becoming the person she had always known she was supposed to be. The mind came into alignment with the calling, and the calling began to function. This is what God is making available to you in this season: the alignment of the mind with the calling, the cognitive dimension of what the power requires to express itself fully, the natural and the supernatural working together to produce what neither produces alone. Chosen one, I want to bring this message to its fullness by telling you what God wants you to do with the power that is being released. Because receiving power is one thing, carrying it well is another. And the chosen ones who receive significant divine power and carry it well are not simply the ones who are grateful or the ones who use it productively in obvious ways. They are the ones who understand the specific posture that carrying unprecedented power requires, and who make the daily decisions that allow the power to flow fully and sustainably through their lives. The first posture that carrying this power requires is humility, not the performative humility that presents itself as lowly while harboring a private pride, but the genuine humility that comes from understanding that the power you carry is not yours. You did not generate it, you did not earn it, in the sense of meriting it through accumulated spiritual performance. It was placed in you by a God who chose you before you chose anything. It is being released in this season not because you have finally achieved the level that warranted the release, but because the season that was appointed for the release has arrived. The humility that the power requires is the humility of the vessel, the awareness that what flows through you is greater than what comes from you, and the daily practice of keeping that distinction clear. The vessel that maintains that clarity is the vessel through which the power can flow most fully. The vessel that begins to confuse what it carries with what it is made of will find the flow restricted, not as punishment, but as a natural consequence of the misalignment between the nature of the power and the posture of the one carrying it. The power is released by a God who is not impressed with the credentials or the performance of the chosen one. It is released for a purpose. And the chosen one who remains aligned with the purpose, rather than becoming attached to the experience of carrying the power, will find the flow sustained over the full length of the season and the seasons that follow. The second posture that carrying this power requires is generosity. The power is not for accumulation, it is for distribution. The chosen one who receives unprecedented power and uses it to build a life that is impressive for themselves, that is comfortable and impressive, and free from the conditions of scarcity that characterized the prior seasons, will find the power diminishing. Because the power was released to produce outcomes that exceed the individual life, to touch the people who were meant to be reached, to provide what was meant to be distributed, to build what was meant to be built, for the benefit of people who were never going to build it themselves. The generosity that the power requires is not limited to financial generosity, though that is part of it. It is the generosity of time spent on the calling rather than only on personal comfort, of attention given to the people who need what you carry rather than only to the maintenance of your own platform, of voice used to say the things that need to be said for the people who need to hear them rather than only to build the kind of presence that generates admiration. The generous chosen one is the one who remembers that the power was never for them alone and who makes daily decisions that reflect that memory. The third posture is endurance. The release of unprecedented power does not mean that everything becomes immediately easy or that the journey from this point forward is without difficulty. The power changes what is possible. It does not eliminate the process. There will still be seasons within the season of power release that test the chosen one. Moments when the power does not seem to be flowing at full capacity. Periods when the outcomes are slower in coming than the expectations suggested they would be. Seasons of patience within the larger season of activation. And the chosen one who has the endurance to hold steady in those moments, who does not abandon the posture because the pace has slowed, will experience the full arc of what the power was released to produce. Matthew is someone I want to tell you about briefly. He had received a significant breakthrough, a genuine activation of divine power in his life that began producing visible outcomes in rapid succession. And then the pace slowed. For months, the outcomes that had been coming quickly stopped coming at the same rate. And the temptation was to interpret the slowdown as the end of the season, as evidence that the power had been withdrawn, as a signal that he had done something to disrupt the flow. But he held. He maintained the posture. He kept doing the work. And on the other side of that slower season, the outcomes resumed at a scale that exceeded what the initial burst had produced. The endurance was not a detour from the power. It was part of the process by which the power was working to produce something that the initial burst alone could not have produced. Do not interpret the slower moments as the end of the activation. The power that God is releasing in your life operates on a timeline that is longer than a single burst of visible outcomes. It operates across a season. It produces a cumulative effect that is larger than any single moment of breakthrough. And the chosen one who endures through the full arc of the season will see the full expression of what the unprecedented power was released to produce. I want to close with this. The world has never seen the power that is being released into your life because the world has never seen you fully activated in your calling before. The combination of who you are and what you carry and what you have been through and the season you are now in has never existed before. And what God is releasing into that unique combination is unique. It will produce outcomes that are unique. It will create a testimony that is unique. It will touch people in ways that are specific to the calling that is specific to you. And the world will look at your life and they will see something they have never seen before. Not because you are performing for them, not because you are trying to be impressive, but because the power of a God who keeps every promise he makes, who rewards every chosen one who has remained faithful through the seasons of preparation, who activates the calling when the timing is right and releases the power when the season has come. That power, working through the specific person that you are, produces something that the world has no category for. Receive it. Carry it well. Let it flow. The power the world has never seen is yours. 777 if you receive this word. I see it if you can feel the activation beginning. I receive if you accept the power that God is releasing. I release if you let go of the prior season and step into this one. I am ready if you are standing in the posture that the power requires. I want to expand on what the testimony of the chosen one who has received unprecedented power looks like in practice. Because the testimony is not only for the chosen one, it is for the people who will be reached through the chosen one. The testimony is the evidence that God keeps his word, that what he says to the chosen ones he carries through to completion, that the calling he places is the calling he equips, that the power he releases he sustains. And the people who see the testimony of a chosen one who has received and carried and expressed the unprecedented power that God released in this season will have their own faith activated, will believe what they could not believe before, will step into what they had considered impossible before they saw what happened in your life. Let me also say something to the chosen one who wonders whether the power is actually for them specifically, or whether this message is speaking in generalities that feel encouraging but do not actually connect to the specific reality of their life. I want to be direct. This message is for you specifically, not because I know you personally, but because God routed this message to your attention in this specific moment of your specific journey for a specific reason. The chosen one who receives a word about power being released does not receive it by accident. They receive it because the word is true for them in this moment. Because the power that is being described is the power that is being released into their specific life. Because the season that the word describes is the season they are actually in, receive this as a personal word, not as a general encouragement that applies to everyone who hears it equally. As a specific declaration spoken over your specific life by a God who knows your name and knows your design and knows the season you are in, and is saying to you in this message that what you have been building toward and waiting for and believing for is being released now. The power is for you. The reward is yours. The unprecedented thing that God is doing in this season is being done in your life. Ellie received a word like this in a season when she had almost stopped believing that the breakthrough was real. She had heard it so many times without seeing the visible evidence that she had begun to protect herself against hope. And then she received a specific word that connected to the specific details of her specific journey, and something shifted, not immediately in the circumstances, but in her posture, in the settled quality of her expectation. And within months, the circumstances began to shift too. The word broke something loose that the circumstances had been building toward, and the power that had always been in her began to express itself at a level that the protection against hope had been preventing. Do not protect yourself against hope. Receive this word. Let it land in the specific reality of your specific life, and let it break loose what has been building toward the expression that this season makes possible.